Hello class. Today we're going to focus on monomials and more specifically multiplying monomials. So just to briefly introduce the subject of a monomial, let's go over what is a monomial and what is not a monomial. Here on the screen you see 6 different terms, and one of these is not a monomial. So just take a second and look at each of the 6 and see if you can decide which one doesn't fit the pattern of the other 5. Okay, for those of you that don't remember the definition of a monomial, let's review that, and this could possibly help you with the task at hand. A monomial is a constant, it's a variable, or it's a product of a constant and variable. It is a polynomial with only one term. So now that we've taken a look at the definition of a monomial, let's go back to the 6 that we're given. And can you see which in fact is not a monomial? Well, 5y, that is definitely a monomial because it's a product of 5, which is a constant, and y, which is a variable. X squared, also a monomial, because again we've got a single variable, and in this case it is raised to an exponent. However, that means multiplication, x times x. So that would indeed be a monomial. 8 also fits a monomial because it's just a constant. The variable x, monomial. 9xy, also a monomial. That leaves the one and only one and only of the list that is not a monomial, x plus y. And it is because of that plus sign that it is not a monomial. That would actually be 2 terms. X would be a single term, y would be a single term. So because we have 2 terms, this is binomial, which we'll get to a little later in our lessons. Okay, so let's move on. Multiplying monomials. 3 basic steps to multiplying monomials. First step is you are going to multiply the coefficients. Coefficients being the large numbers in front of the variables. So in this case, we're going to take our 3 and our 2, multiply those together. Second step, we're going to multiply the variables. And in this case, they are both x's, so x times x. And then we're going to write both of those answers next to each other. So our 3 times 2 gives us a 6, and our x times x gives an x squared. Therefore, 3x times 2x, 6x squared. Let's try multiplying, adding the exponents. This is a shortcut you can use when you are given variables that are the same as far as the base. The exponents are the only difference. First step isn't going to change. We're going to concentrate on those coefficients, 5 and 2. Our second step, now we're going to focus on the x squared and the x to the 4th. But because both base values are an x, we actually have a shortcut in that we can take our exponents 2 and 4, add them together, and keep that same base of x. Putting it all together gives us an answer of 10x to the 6th. So pretty easy to do. Okay, so let's practice a couple of these. And you can take a minute, copy these down into your notes. We'll go through 2 of them. You can try the other 2. If you feel that you may have made a mistake or you want to check your answers, just see your teacher tomorrow or the next day that you are in class, and we'll be more than happy to help you with it. I'm going to start with this first one, 4y squared times a y to the 6th. Again, focus on your coefficients. You have a 4 in the first term, and in the second term there is no coefficient with that y to the 6th, but hopefully you remember at this point that you can always put a 1 in front if there is nothing given to you. So now focus on your 4 times 1. That would give us 4. And then we have a y squared times y to the 6th. Both of our bases are the same letter, so that means we can use the shortcut of adding the exponents. So 2 plus 6 is going to give me 8, y to the 8th. So our answer for our first term is indeed a 4y to the 8th. Let's jump down to the fourth problem, dealing with our longest problem. No different than any of the others. You're going to start by focusing on your coefficients. Here we have a 3. Here we have a 1 is implied. And in the third term we have a 6. So we've got 3 times 1 times 6, which that's going to give us an 18. Then, get rid of a little of this, make it easier to understand. When you're given more than one variable, it is customary to try and keep things in alphabetical order. So as I look through my terms, my first term here I have a y, second term I have a y, but my third term I have an x and a y. So what I'm going to choose to do is start with that x, because x comes before y in the alphabet. And what's nice about this is I only have a single x term in the entire problem. So I'm immediately going to need an x to the third in my answer. Now I'm going to go back and focus on the y's. So focusing on those y's, I have a y squared in the first term. I have a y to the 6th in the second term. And I have just a single y, or a y to the 1st, in that third term. So now adding my exponents, I keep the same base, y, and I have a 2 plus 6 plus 1. Adding all those together will give me a y to the 9th. So taking all three components, putting them together as an answer, we get 18, x to the third, y to the 9th. Okay, let's get a little more practice here. You can copy these down into your notes as well. First problem, I've got, again, 3 monomials being multiplied together. So I'm going to focus first on those large coefficients, which in this case are all 2's. 2 times 2 times 2. That's going to give me an 8. So I know immediately I'm either going to be concentrating on my second or my third option, because those give me 8 as the coefficient. So once we've decided that, now we're going to focus on the x's. I have an x squared, I have an x to the 6th, and I have an x to the 8th. Again, shortcut for multiplying, because they're all the same letter, is to go ahead and add those exponents. So 2 plus 6, that's going to give me an 8. Add the other 8 to it, is going to give me a 16. So by now you can see the correct answer is 8x to the 16th. Take a moment now, try number 2. Remember, in that third term, because there is no coefficient, a 1 is really implied in front of that a squared. So multiplying our coefficients, we have a 5 times 11 times 1. That's going to give us 55. So we know the first of the choices will not work for us. Alphabetical order, in my first term, I see that there is an a squared. In my second term, there is no a. In my third term, there is another a squared. So concentrating just on those a's, 2 plus 2 is going to give me a 4. That's still not helping me with my choices because, as you can see, both the second and the third choice both have an a to the fourth. So we've got to go a little further. Let's concentrate on the next letter alphabetically, which is B. So let's get rid of these circles. And we'll focus on a B to the first, a B to the sixth, and in the third term we have no B's. So combining our B's, remember, add that 1, it does make a difference. Our 1B plus 6 more B's is going to give us 7 B's. And at this point, you can see that it is only the second choice that gives us a B to the seventh. So you can either stop here or, just to go ahead and be sure, check your C's. In the first term, we have none. In the second term, we have 3 C's. And in the third term, we have 8 C's. 3 plus 8 does indeed give us the 11. So therefore, we do know that our second choice is the correct one. Option number 3 here for the examples, this is just checking to see, do you recall or recognize what this outside 3 really means? Okay, what that outside 3 really means is that we've got 3 of the parentheses being multiplied together. So if it helps you, you can write that out 3 times so it matches all of the other problems we've done thus far. So pause here, try it, and we'll go over the answer in just a second. Okay, so hopefully after working on this problem, you came up with 27 x to the ninth, y to the sixth. Okay, let's move on. Fill in the blanks. I'm giving you part of the problem in the first option, and I'm giving you the answer. So what you need to focus on, again, same thing, start with your coefficients. Notice that the answer we're looking for is a 35. We know one of the coefficients already, 7. So at this point, hopefully you're realizing that 7 times 5 is going to give us 35. Now focus on the x's. We have an x squared in the first term, and we do have an x to something. What we need to get is an x to the sixth. So adding your exponents, 2 plus 4 will give us a 6, and therefore you've got your answer. 5x squared plus 7x to the fourth equals 35x to the sixth. And we'll just bring it down there. Okay, so again, same steps involved. Coefficients first, variables next. You can try the second 2 examples as part of your homework, and then just come see your teacher the next time you're in class to check your answers if you have any questions or doubts. Okay, so let's just quickly talk about some applications. Multiplying monomials is useful when we're finding area. Hopefully you can see why, because area equals length times width. So if you were to take your length, 8x, multiply it by the 1/3 x, start with your coefficients, multiply them together, do your x's, and you'll have your answer for the area. Volume, length times width times height. So we have our length, width, and height labeled on our box area. So substituting in, start with your coefficients, work with your variables. Hopefully you do indeed get your answers. If you have any questions, let your teacher know next time you're in class. Good luck, and we'll see you hopefully next in class.